Part one to part four.
Yeah.
At least that was my thought. But what do you guys
No,
think?
I completely agree. I mean, he tried. Like I get it. You want to get as many situations off as possible so that when people read it, they're like, "Oh, I can relate to that." But
This had me
like,
thinking. It almost sounded, it had me thinking like, do you think he has probably written multiple books?
Oh yeah.
I feel like if you write multiple books and you are writing multiple books that kind of somewhat overlap, if you're like writing multiple types of motivational books, right? He's probably written in a few different ways.
Nah, this is like
This is like his only
first
motivational book, just because I feel like it almost
one
sounded
like
like he was
this.
trying to get certain things off in a different way that you haven't heard before, but it was like so close it still felt the same.
Yeah.
Like it was
I'm
just
sure
a
he
bunch of
knows.
scenarios and just stuff like that.
he knows now.
Yeah.
After this one, because I mean, even somebody here, they looked up the reviews on it and they were like, "Yeah, it's not a. I don't want to read it because the reviews are not that great."
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah, so
It's
it was
like,
it was okay, but I'm glad we got through it. All right, let's kick it off. So I'm curious now because Landon is up next on his book, and he did not tell us what book it is. So
Yeah, we got it right here.
it's in the hat. It's in the
It's
hat.
gonna slip out.
All right.
No, I got a good grip on it.
Exposed.
I got a good
Alright,
grip on it.
So I think we started on 127, scenario 18, and we read all the way to through
that?
all of the other things. I think it was
Yes,
195.
Yep.
197.
19. Well, I mean,
I don't know. I read 195 too.
Yeah.
and It was,
I read. Yeah.
it was okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. But all right.
Wait. Yeah, I read that too.
All right. 127, scenario 18, guys. You got anything so far? Or where's your first highlight? Or, I mean, I've struggled to find anything that really, like, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I got something on 136.
I'm with you guys because I read this with no pen and no highlighter.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
You didn't even give the book a chance.
Hey, man.
Neither
I
did you
read the
mentally.
pages.
Neither
I
did
read
you
the
mentally.
pages, so.
I read it. No, I
Yeah.
give it my all, but
I got a highlight.
He's got
on-
some good ones.
I got some highlights on 134. I guess I'm the only one that really rocks Brigade B. But anyways, on page 134 at the very bottom, it says accountability can help you advance up the ranks in any organization. Some people remain stuck in the same role for years and years because their managers think of them as complainers rather than problem solvers, either subconsciously or consciously. And I think that's just like something that you can definitely observe if you look around. Like people that you just look at them like, oh, they can't help themselves. Like this person, why does no one want to hang out with me? Why does no one want to be? It's like because you're constantly nagging or complaining or something like that, just sucking up all the oxygen in the room. That's kind of what that looks like to me. Like no one wants to be around someone that always blames other people.
yeah.
That's such a noticeable trait because you have to be accountable for something like on a given day, like 10 or 20, 30 different times. So like if you're always blaming other people for everything that goes wrong in your life, like that's just feels miserable.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think accountability is definitely a big one. Pretty interesting though. I also liked how it said when you're accountable, right after that, when you're accountable, you come to your workers and managers with solutions rather than complaints. Like that kind of sums it up.
Yeah.
I guess so.
You can tell like if someone who seems like they're putting out the fires and someone who seems like they're starting the fires.
Yeah.
Like, for sure. What was your next highlight?
Mine's on 136. You got anything on that?
Roll.
Okay. 136. I had it. kind of in the middle of the page, right before scenario 22. The funny thing is, going all in on my strengths would lead higher performance and more happiness, which ultimately yield more promotions and substantial raises. And yeah, I think a lot of people think like, uh, I need to sacrifice or I need to strengthen my weaknesses, but sometimes like that's not what you need. Like if you just go full circle on it and like that's your total strength. I guess it depends on the strengths though.
It definitely depends on the strengths, because that's just hearing that sound like, because to like a lot of the book feels like his whole thing is pointing out kind candor as a weakness and being like, I feel like Gary's one of those guys who's like, whatever my weakness is, I'm gonna hammer down on it. Kobe Bryant, if my weakness is my left hand, I'm gonna use my left hand all the time.
Right.
Like that's what makes the people great. I mean, I see what you're saying though. I see exactly where you're coming from. I just feel like, that's he does both.
You think he
I
contradicts
think
himself there?
I think somewhat like I think he does both. Like he drills down on his strengths, but he also clearly like points out his weaknesses, and then also like it seems like he's trying to work on them through this book. So it's just all about how you look at it, I guess.
All right. That was probably my only highlight. We'll see. What do you got?
Is that your
What do
only
you got
one?
next?
Let me see where I'm at. I actually got one on 140.
140.
So I like this one. It says, it's like midway down the page in that last paragraph. When you judge someone, you're usually looking at only a few specific behaviors or actions. You don't know that person, and even if you do, you often don't know what's going on in their personal life. You probably haven't spent the years necessary to map out what happened in that particular childhood. You don't have the full context. That doesn't mean you shouldn't hold people accountable for their actions through kind candor, but it's not smart to judge them for it. And that's like, I wrote off to the side, like, it's like a narrow view that like feels really weird whenever you open it up. Like if you look at people, it's so much easier to like look at people and be able, because then you can get more frustrated with them. Then you can do, like, if you won't look at people for what they actually are as an individual, when you only look at them for their work or something like that, it's easier to be like get out of here, you're fired, or something like that, and not to understand that, like, hey, why are you struggling? Like, is there something going on that we can work on, And he even openly admits that, like, that's his biggest regret in this book. Is like, if I could go back in time, the one thing I don't live with regrets, but if I could change one thing, it would be getting to know someone instead of just like laying down the law. I actually I wrote something down in my notes that I heard on a different podcast this week that I thought was really cool, and it like portrays the idea that you can't like put these strict guidelines in place and then get a bunch of people to do it and not build a relationship and then tell them to fall in line like worker bees. Because if you have, I got the quote right here in my notes because I did not want to forget it. I thought I had it off the top of my head. It says, rules without relationship leads to rebellion. So if you put rules in place, but you don't form a relationship with the person that you're going to ask them to do it, eventually they're just going to rebel. Like they're going to get mad amongst themselves, be like, I don't want to do it today. And he doesn't really care about how I feel and all that. Like,
right.
So I thought that was just kind of a cool thing. Like that's one of my big mantras in life right now, is to not judge people and understand that, like, whatever it is, if they're coming at me mad or something like that, the same way Gary says, they must be upset about something. Like, they must be going through it.
Yeah.
More than anything
That's
else.
tough though, man.
It's tough.
It is.
That's tough. Like,
That's what he says. I think he said, because then he says, like, it doesn't mean you don't hold people accountable.
Yeah.
That's what he's, because
yeah.
you have to still hold people accountable. So then I think that is tough.
Yeah, I think I saw one thing on like a video or like a TV show where like the boss sat him down and like explained all this stuff, like, hey man, like, sorry that, like, this is happening, stuff like that. And the employee's like, oh, okay, like, so am I good to go? And he's like, no, you're fired. You're still fired, but just letting you know, like, I feel you.
That's it.
Like, unfortunately, you still messed up. Like, it's too bad. Like, I do have to fire you.
Yeah.
But
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
yeah,
Like, I think there's like any way you want to do it.
yeah,
Like,
I think that's like the best way.
We've like actually been able to kind of see that in our own like lives, like kind of like we've had friends that, I'm gonna let you out easy. Like, I have to let you go. It's not like any big deal, but if you do something big enough that like almost requires you
Yeah,
to be let go, then you can still do it in a professional manner.
Yeah.
And I think, and it makes you look good. They talk about it in the NFL or like these pro teams all the time is like you can go ahead and like you can like say you're gonna do all this stuff, then do your player dirty, kick him to the curb and all this stuff, but it's gonna reflect how you do business on your organization. And whenever this person's a free agent and they're going to pick where they want to go, they're gonna be like, I don't want to go play for that organization. That's just how they treat their players.
Yeah.
So reputation, that goes back to the first book, I think.
Yeah, 48 Laws, man. It's so crazy how many things, like from 48 Laws, you're just like,
Yeah.
I remember that. I
It
remember
was
that.
like
Dude, that book was crazy.
it was the blueprint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the blueprint.
All right. And, okay, my next highlight is way on 168. So if you got anything before then.
Let me see. I had one on 143. I'll just say this one quick. I thought this was cool. It says patience is a secret ingredient here that helps balance ambition. Don't let your ambition put you in a mental space where you overanalyze your output every single day. Focusing on your journey over the course of the year or 5 or 10 is more valuable than worrying about being lazy on a few days here and there. So I think that he just kind of, even Gary Vee speaks to like, I guess it's like entrepreneur cheat days. Like the fact that we don't work for the system that requires you Monday to Friday, 8 to 4 or whatever it is like every once in a while. I literally took one today, kind of like I got up early every day this weekend and I was working. So I was like, and I stayed a little bit later yesterday. So I was like, I'm going to just sleep in a little bit today just because I was a little bit more tired than usual. So I think it's cool that Gary Vee kind of points to like, don't abuse it. Obviously he would speak to that, but I just think that patience with yourself and stuff like that, but also like understanding that you focus on the journey, and if you get burnt out or wherever you're at, like you can't really accomplish what you would anyways.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's a longevity thing too, I feel like. So I mean, that's good though, that you understand your body, you understand how you work. So you have your self-awareness, but also like the main thing is our longevity, because we want to be doing this forever and for as long as possible, at least. I'm not going to say forever, but for as long as we possibly would want to do this.
Yeah.
So having moments like that, I think even myself recently, I think I've been more into it because even prior to this year itself is just work. Just you have to work. There's no other option but to work, but it just doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it's about, what is that? There's another saying where it's like there's two people cutting down a tree. One guy is constantly cutting, the other one cuts for a while, takes a break for an hour, comes back, cuts twice as much as him. He's like, "What are you doing when you're away? How are you cutting more when you're away?" He said, "Oh, I'm sharpening my axe." That's why he's able to cut more.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
I like
Good
that.
saying.
That's a good saying. He is right.
That's a
Clip
good
it.
one.
Clip it.
All right, but you have anything else, Lando, for you?
No, go ahead. Go on with yours.
All right, we're jumping up a little bit. 168,
Jump.
all the way at the top. Just short and simple. There's always opportunity to make lemonade from lemons. Yep.
Yeah.
And I actually did like that a lot. If you read the scenario, it's a scenario about basically you're the owner of your own company and you're in the process of building a new product offering for your customers. You have a release date for the product in coming weeks. You've prepared an email blast to let your customers know. It's very important for the company that this launch goes well. Unfortunately, a junior team member, Sally, accidentally sends an email blast a week early before the product is even available. What do you do? And the way he turns it around is he's like, hey, every bad opportunity you can turn into a good one. So he gave the example of making a video with Sally saying like, hey, what did he say? This is Sally. She hit send by accident. Geez, we're really sorry. We don't have the product yet. We'd be back in a few weeks with an official announcement and a special discount code for you. Sally messed up. Look for it. Right, Sally? And then she goes, haha, right, boss. So
it's so funny. These are the ideas that they have too. Because I've worked for like different corporations when they're doing like new sneaker promos at Foot Locker or at Hibbett Sports or something like that. It's just so funny because those are that's the ideas on how they want to handle screw ups and stuff like that, just to try and ease it over, make it light, make light of the situation.
yeah. So I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
I think honestly that is it for my highlights. I didn't get too much because honestly I think 2 more pages and then it goes into the exercises. So
Yeah.
did you have anything else
So
before the exercises?
yeah, so actually I highlighted just one big section that I wanted to kind of float to you guys before we wrap up the book, since it seems like the exercises I don't think we're really gonna do
No.
hit on much there, right?
Nah.
Because we just kind of glossed over those. So
Yeah.
I had one. I kind of highlighted this whole big section here on page 159, and it's talking about tenacity. So it says, tenacity is the most important ingredient here. I don't want anyone to give up along the way. When an artist launches his or her first NFT project and it sells 0 pieces when it costs money to mint them, that person will curse me out in an email at garyvmedia.com and say, F you, Gary. You inspired me to do this, but I lost. That's when the tenacity should kick in. Dear artist, here's my message back to you. Do not email me until your 49th project has failed. Don't even consider it. Otherwise, you've completely missed the point of tenacity. You want to be a working artist. You want to be a working artist and you gave up after one time? Let me get this straight. You want to spend your whole life drawing, painting, coloring, or doodling, and you gave up because nobody paid attention on your very first project? Get out of here. And I thought that line right there perfectly sums up what we're trying to do. Is like, it's the perfect balance of like, don't don't take it for granted. Like, understand that if this is what we're gonna choose to grind and stuff like that, of course, like that's why the people that aren't meant to be entrepreneurs try it one time, fail, and they just move on.
Yeah.
Like he says, don't email me until after your 49th project. Like,
It's like quick money.
we didn't expect to be on this podcast couch doing this, and we don't expect to be, and we never expect to be doing on the back end what we're
No.
doing right now. So it's like,
And we're still not getting any views or anything.
At all.
So
Yeah.
so we're just doing it for literally the fun and just
Yeah,
kind of reading
exactly.
books, which
It's nice.
honestly very interesting how that even came about.
Yeah.
About. I don't think
Yeah.
it was so crazy. Like I don't even know why we're doing this. Like it's so left field, but it's honestly
No, it's-
so nice.
I literally had nothing to do with it. I was
Oh,
gone.
yeah, you was
I
gone
was
that day.
gone, and I just came back to the 48 Laws of Power, dude. An encyclopedia. I came back to an encyclopedia in my free time. That book was a grind.
That was, but
Well,
this,
it was
it
a-
was good.
it was
though.
good.
It was
Yeah,
an amazing
definitely.
book. It was an amazing book.
Yeah.
Reading it that fast tested you. Though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man,
It just
dude. I
tested me.
remember. I
Dude,
remember.
the podcast, we were like, okay, well, I had 17 more highlights, but let's just move on to law number 6.
Yeah.
I remember Miguel texting the group chat, going, "This is the most I've read in my life," or
Yeah,
something.
bro.
That
It
was
still
crazy.
is.
It was
I
like
mean-
20 pages a day. Like it was a grind.
But
Yeah, the
what's
problem
even
is no
crazier-
one was reading it a day, or at least
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wasn't.
I
So
wasn't
it was
doing
like
it
it was
daily,
like
bro.
4 hours per day per
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, one day.
It's like 4 hours on Saturday, 4 hours on Sunday.
All right.
Got
Some people definitely read more than that though, which
Oh
is
my
even
God.
crazy.
I
Like,
don't.
I don't know
People
how
do, like,
people
50.
read multiple.
yeah,
You get that? Where they're
Yeah.
like, oh, they read that, and they're like, yeah, I'll stop here, and they'll switch over. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what? I
I've
gotta
been
know
in
the
a-
beginning
Process
to
it.
end.
yeah.
that would be tough. That'd be
Right? I'd be
interesting.
like, oh man, that was a great thing. Oh wait, that was from my other book I read. Like,
Yeah.
But all right,
okay, so
focusing on this
go
one.
ahead.
Hold on.
go ahead.
go ahead.
You have one more?
Oh, I actually had a highlight in one of the
Oh, let's go.
exercises.
Let's go. I thought you
Um,
said we're not touching the exercise. I said, oh, we're not doing exercise. You said, oh, exercises. No way. We're not doing
Well, no,
those
no,
yet.
it's before the exercises.
Oh, before. the
Yeah, because there was
exercises.
really no exercises. Well, I mean, I guess all of them did.
All
but
of them were like you had to post something along those lines. So
Yeah.
we would have.
Yeah,
so
for the
my
most part,
the only
yeah.
thing I liked I highlighted was on the kindness exercise. Basically, how these exercises broke out was like Gary V like did the ingredient, so like accountability or optimism, and then said like you can do this and this and post it and use hashtag.
Oh,
To me, that was a little bit of a like,
It was a plug.
right? It
Yeah.
was like a little
That's-
cheesy.
Yeah.
It's a little
I felt
cheesy
like
and
that,
like
yeah.
self promotion.
He's willing to do that.
Yeah.
He's always like
it
that's
just-
kind of what he's been. Like I've kind of thought that about him forever. He
Yeah.
but he like broke through with that mold too.
Yeah.
So
It was like a little
it's
bit
like-
like okay, like
I agree.
you know, we might as well put hashtag go by 12 and a half as each hashtag. But I just wanted to highlight in the exercise of kindness at the very bottom, it says kindness is based on the recipient's terms, not yours.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that's so true.
It
Mm.
is.
Because it's like you think you're being kind, but you're really actually being rude and you just don't realize it.
And it's like if you look yourself in the mirror, you know you're being fake kind, but how many people are willing to do that?
Yeah.
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 It's the
But
thing,
How many
bro.
people are willing to do that?
But
It's easier not to.
that was kind of it. Then it hits the conclusion and then inspiration, and that was it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Did anyone have anything else on it?
Well,
Really? Takeaways? Anything like that?
before we can wrap it up, we always have to ask the biggest takeaway. So I was going to see what you guys' biggest takeaway was from the 12 and a half. From
Biggest
Gary Vee.
takeaway definitely was the first portion. Oh, I think definitely one of my favorite highlights out of this was on page 13, and it was what I care about is bringing value to every single person I interact with. And I think that one like was like the all right,
That's kind of what
that
hit home
was
for you.
what the entire book was about for me.
Yeah.
Was just
Trying to have
making sure that
just
prioritizing
meaningful
that.
conversation and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, just always giving value.
Like that. Would you
I think for this book, it was just his idea behind it to show people that you can do things properly.
Yeah.
Like you can follow these 12 and a half things and implement them into your daily lives, and you can be successful. You don't have to be like a shisty person. Like you don't have to get over on people. Like you don't have to do any of that to become successful. Like this is the formula, part of it at least, and you can do the right things and still be successful. So
Yeah.
that was like my biggest thing. Like, yeah,
He talks about that a lot. He really talks
Yeah.
like not a lot. You can be successful stepping on people, but
Mm.
I'm trying to show that you can also be successful being kind too. I thought that
Yeah.
was cool. So my biggest takeaway that I had was like that I thought he was trying to portray was never stop like searching for your weaknesses and working on them. I thought
Yeah.
that him pointing out kind candor and literally calling it out as a half, as notifying it as like a weakness and stuff like that, and saying like, you know, I'm still working on it. I don't know if I'll ever be perfect, but like, you know, just someone being able to understand that. Thought that was like something that was big for me. But I also put down the last two lines in the book are a bar, is what I thought. So if you go to 194, just the last two lines before it goes to the inspiration, it says, there are different forms of privilege in society, but the ultimate privilege is peace of mind. I hope this book will help get you there. So I thought that that's something that like Gary Vee says, like if you can wake up and you focus on what's important to you first, which is your family, then you can start your day. Like do whatever you got to do to wake up and not go to Twitter or X or whatever, not go to whatever type of social media. Like take a second to focus on yourself and focus on get yourself in a happy mood first, so you don't enter your first conversation with resentment or your second conversation with some type of whatever. So I thought that was a big
Yeah.
thing he was
No,
trying
that
to
was
say
a
too.
good end line.
Like a good way to end the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, another down. So that was
book
our
number 4.
Fourth book.
fourth book down. She goes. Put her down on the shelf.
It's been nice. Like
Gotta be quick.
Whoa.
it's been so nice telling people like, yeah, I've read a book once a month for the past couple months now, so it just feels nice.
Have you told
Dude.
people you like, yeah, I'm in a book club?
Yeah. I'd openly say it, and say it so proudly too. I'm like, yeah, like we started this book in our book club, like it's been great, blah blah blah.
What are people's reactions?
There's just,
They're
I mean,
like-
for the most part,
they're
my
like,
friends
"Stop
are
it,
like,
Miguel.
no,
Come
no.
on."
My friends, they're like, bro, that's super lit, like,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to get everybody to read along with us. So I'll reach out to people like, hey,
That'd be
did you
sick,
read?
man.
Yeah, no, I've been.
So
They're good reads too.
so
We're,
you-
promoting.
we're trying to get good reads too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
man.
for
on
sure.
Christmas
But
time.
wait, so you've gotten have you had anyone like join in yet? They just haven't tuned in.
Well, recently, one of my good friends, he reached out and he was just like, yeah, what are y'all reading? And I sent him the book, and I'm like, but we're about to end it, so next month, like whatever
Oh,
book
you
it
gonna hit 'em
is,
up
I'll
right
let
now?
you know.
It is easier to. It's tough to jump
There you
in.
go.
It's,
Yeah,
it's tough
yeah,
to
it
jump
is.
in.
It
It
is.
is.
It is.
Well, luckily,
gotta play
I think,
catch
I
up.
think that's why we crush out a book a month. So
Yeah.
it's like you're not too behind. you
Right,
know? It's like
exactly.
you know, it's like oh well, you know, we finish a
does
book every
help.
6 months.
That
You're like,
does help.
Damn,
Yeah.
I gotta
Yeah.
catch up.
Yeah,
But all right,
that does
are
help.
we doing grand reveal now?
Let's do the grand. Let's
after-
just go ahead and do the grand
All
reveal
right,
right
what do
now,
we got?
and then we'll
Landon,
just
this
finish it
is
off. with
Landon's
Yeah,
this
book.
stuff.
I'm itching
Okay.
for this.
So this is. I'm honestly I'm nervous about
Okay.
it.
Well,
I'm a
here-
little bit nervous about
so
it, but that's why I
Yeah,
like
give
you
us a
to-
thought process.
So there's your thought process behind it. So I'm glad the thought process is great how he just laid it out, because we go through these a month. So if it ends up not being exactly what I wanted it to be, that'll be okay. But I think it's going to be good, because I've kind of been getting into this a little bit more but I don't understand like the ideology and stuff around it. But I also want to learn. I want to learn about it, but I also want to learn like how to do it, like what some of the different methods that go along with it.
Wait,
So this,
wait, I want guess. I want to do some guesses. Now
I'm
hearing that,
excited, yeah.
I have an idea.
see, and this because
right.
that's why I didn't want to talk
All right,
about it much. I didn't figure.
Miguel,
it'd
do
be
you
too much.
know
Bro, I
what
don't
could it
know.
be?
There's just so many
The way
things.
he's saying it, I have an idea, but
I feel like it's like some meditation type of deal or something
stop
like that.
meditation.
Yeah, that's what it sounds
really?
like to
I
me,
was
like
going with
it's-
sports betting.
Or that. That's a good one.
That's what I was thinking. All right.
One of you are right.
It's just like so left field.
One of
Yeah,
you
it's
are
like-
right.
I don't know. Let's see what it is. All right. Let's
Today,
give it to
so
you.
for the next 4 weeks, go on this journey with me as we learn about the logic of why you should sports bet. Learn about the
This is
logic
good.
before you sports bet. I just think this would be cool.
Dang, too bad there's no
Thank you,
sports to
sir.
be
So
betting.
it's not too beefy, but well, by the time we get to the end of it, football season will have just started. So I
Oh,
just
man.
think it'd be
We're gonna have a
cool.
little book club bros like hedge fund here. We're gonna be like
Right,
playing.
we're gonna
play
have
So
some
I
bets.
honestly though I picked this book because I didn't want one. So of all the books out there, a lot of them tell you like these are smart bets. I didn't want to know just about sports betting. This is supposed to take you about some of the logic about how the market works and different
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like that.
How do
Not-
sportsbook make their
Not
lines?
basically telling you. Not I didn't want a book that just said you should bet these lines, you should bet these numbers. I wanted it to say like what is the sports market, what is sports betting, why can it go on and stuff like that too. So thought that this would be a little bit of both.
This is
Should be a
great.
fun-
bro.
it
Some
should-
math in it,
it's
dude.
got- yeah, it's got-
I like this.
So I thought it'd be fun. It'd be fun to test out.
It's gonna be good.
Model
See,
business,
you started it though,
play.
because I mean, I feel like I told you guys what my next book is gonna be, but you started the trend now.
What's your next book gonna be?
Wait,
Shark.
Are you wait?
can't
Are you gonna
double
show?
reveal.
Are you gonna
He's got-
reveal it? And what do
yeah,
you?
No, I
it's
mean,
up to
I-
them.
You want to go?
I'll tell
go
you
right now?
guys.
You want to give it out right now?
Teaser.
I mean, I can do it off air.
Oh, it's up to you.
Yeah,
It's
wait,
up to
You
you.
do you.
Yeah, I'll wait.
You do
I'll
you.
wait.
Okay,
I mean,
come
okay.
on,
He's
this
gonna
is-
tease it.
We're
All right.
on Landon's
He's
book. This is
stealing
the-
my tease.
see,
then.
this-
Here we go.
This guy's
This
crazy.
is it.
So
The
this
logic
is
of
the
sports betting.
fifth book.
Fifth book.
Yeah,
We're about to
fifth
start our
book.
fifth book.
The Logic of Sports Betting by Ed Miller and Matthew David Dow.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not even sure I've read 5 books in my life. I might
Yeah,
have,
like
I might have
consistently.
cliff
know,
noted.
dude.
Yeah, bro.
I might have read like 3 books.
I agree.
This one chapter says, "How do I know if I'm winning?"
Yeah,
Whoa.
this is
All
gonna
right.
be good.
So it goes all the way to 232.
So
Do a little
does
quick
it start
math
on page
here.
1? Does it start on page 1?
I
think it does, actually. We'll read the
You can go
introduction.
intro,
later.
yeah.
Contents.
I'll definitely read this intro.
I think it
Starts
starts
on
at page
9. It
8.
starts on 8.
8.
Yeah.
8 minus 232. 4. All right, 56 pages a week. That's what it comes out to.
56.
So
Oh, 62 is public money. That would have been perfect. 56. Actually, let's
Wanna
get
just
to
go
it.
62?
Well, 56 ends at retail sports books.
Oh, okay, okay.
If you want
true,
to,
true,
so that would actually end. I don't got a.
Yeah.
where are we
I don't
gonna
got a
end it?
pen. 56. Does that work for you? At the bottom
Pa-
of 56,
Oh, okay. Page
and then
56.
57 would be where
Sounds
we pick
good. All right, sweet. All right, I'm excited. I'm
up.
excited to
Logic
get
of
this
sports
one done.
betting.
Are we going Monday, right?
We're
Monday's the
trying
next
to.
one?
Yeah, we'll
All
do
right.
Mondays now.
Monday.
Logic of Sports Betting, guys, go check it out. We'll have a link down
By
below
Ed Miller.
or in our bio or wherever if you
We were
guys
sh-
want to read along.
We were shouting out Gary Vaynerchuck so much in that last book, so I
Yeah.
feel like we got to do it then. The Logic of Sports Betting by Ed Miller and Matthew David Dow.
Dow.
There you go.
Matthew
All right.
David Dow.
Moving on. Short snippets.
I'm excited for this, bro.
Yeah, me too. Man,
Hope
we're gonna be like
I
we're
hope
gonna
it's
be
really
doing
good.
some lingo and stuff. I know it
Yeah.
throughout when we're talking to each
Well,
other.
it's it's like getting so popping now that I honestly just want to know a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like I want to know the lines. This podcast I watched does like a sports gambling show where they just gamble like on 7 football teams, and they were doing it every week. And I was even by the end of the entire season, they were doing like this team's minus this or plus this, and I still didn't know which side meant which. And I watched the podcast for like 12 weeks.
Oh my
I
gosh.
never cared enough to really get it down in my head.
The
It's like I
spread.
knew,
Yeah.
but it's like I
Yeah.
knew I wasn't gonna gamble on
Gotcha.
it, so I never really cared.
All right.
Yeah, good stuff.
Okay. Am I going first?
So yeah, well, now we'll
Bro.
podcast Book Club Bros is over, and we're on to our short snippets.
All right. Starting off with the fun fact of the day. Fun fact of the day. Travel boosts brain health and also decreases a person's risk of heart attack and depression.
See, it's
I've known some people though that like go on vacation and aren't they just like miserable?
Yeah,
You know what
I
I'm saying?
mean, it
You
just
could-
it just depends.
Yeah.
If you're that miserable, you